Well, another year has passed. Happy 510 day to all you existing 510 owners and maybe possibly new owners. A little update on what's been going on with my wagon. It's been a good year since I've installed the Technotoy tuning rear leaf springs using their 2-inch blocks. Thanks Taka from House for helping me with getting these and the guys at Technotoy for bringing them to the Dots local meet for me to pick them up. It worked out good. I ended up using a Suzuki Samurai front shock to get a little bit more travel because it's a shorter body. Um, I was looking at also a Thunderbird shock. I still think those will work great too. That might be something I might try later on, or find another 510 owner that wants to try it out. You know, try it out with them. Other things I've been looking at too was even taking the stock leaf springs and de-arcing them or having them changed at a local spring shop. I think that's a good alternative for people too. That's on a budget-friendly mod that they could do. Um, it's given that you can find a spring shop in your area that could do it. But other things that I've been doing on the car, gotten kind of into wheels lately. I think some of you might remember I picked up these Watanabes for the rears. They're 14 by 7.5, negative 3.5 millimeter offset. Thanks Taka for helping me on this one with the discount during the JCCS show. These I think are the max I would put on the back of a wagon. I think if you ran the 14 by 7 plus 3, that might actually be even better. But at first I was using a 195/60/14 Bridgestone competition tire, and it was a little too square, so it was rubbing a little. So I ended up getting those Otsu 185/60/14s, and they worked out good. A little bit of stretch, and it clears without any problems. But then I ended up picking up some SSR MK3s for cheap because since the yen rate to dollar was really good, couldn't pass up. So found some that were 14 by 70 offset. Had some minor curb rash. So I ended up running them for a while with some Westlake RP18s and then 185/60/14. And I had always wanted to clean them up, so I decided to get some polishing tools and start polishing and shaping the lips and getting rid of some curb rash, and came out pretty good. I ended up saving the hardware because I liked them because they had the Japanese logos on the back of the boat head, so I wanted to salvage them. So I ended up putting them in acid and getting rid of the corrosion, cleaning it up, and then coating them or spray painting them black. So a little bit of contrast. And it worked out pretty good. I like it. I've always loved this wheel. But also at the same time, I ended up picking up these I ended up picking up a set of 4. Started off with 2 as 14 by 7s with a +1 offset, and then I got them for really cheap. Then I ended up finding another pair for a 14 by 7 0 offset for even cheaper. So I ended up going with those, cleaning them up, putting new hardware, because on these the boat heads, some of them broke off, so they were pretty fragile. So I went ahead and changed all of them to stainless steel, and it worked out good. Ended up using these Ultramax AS tires. They're not bad. All these tires were inexpensive, probably like a $50-$60 range. Between the three, I would say I would put the Otsu as number 1. Then number 2, the Westlake RP18s. Then these Ultramaxes. What was cool too, another thing, and thank you for my friends in Japan. They found some Longchamp center caps, and they sent them over to me, so I was able to make these wheels complete. So that was a nice little thing, nice of them to do that. So I have these wheels, I play around with them, I switch them out every so often, just kind of like for fun, and I enjoy them. I really like them, and I learned a lot doing polishing, and it was took my time with them, and definitely can appreciate the people that do this, because it is work to do, get wheels polished up and get rid of a lot of curb rash. So when you see those prices out there, sometimes you might think they're expensive, but they're actually not too bad. Like especially guys like say Exquisite Auto House. Chris actually his prices are pretty good for JDM wheels and when they refurbish them. So when you look at the wheels, you know I think some of his prices are pretty good deals. I ended up for the front. I think his name's Scott. I think he's like the owner of Renowned Steering Wheels. He's a local in the Bay Area, and he actually had a pair of these Watanabes for a really good price, pretty cheap. Tires were blown, but they were 14 by 6.5 with a 14.5 millimeter offset, positive 14.5 millimeter. So I ended up to get them to work because they had to clear the spring perches because I'm using two AZX struts with the brakes. I had to use a 5 millimeter offset, 5 millimeter spacer to make the offset more like 9.5 millimeter, and that cleared it. And then I ended up, since on the ZX the wheel studs are a little shorter, and I didn't want to change out the studs, I ended up modifying the wheels, and I used a unibit, and it hogged out the hole so I could use a shank style acorn lug, and it actually worked out good, and I get a lot of tread on it. And I've been running these on and off, and it looks real good, clears real well. Nice for like a stock Fender 510 running ZX brakes. And I think you could even do it without the stock 510 struts, and it'll be fine. But one thing, these tires that I tried, what are these Lexani tires? And they're okay. I wouldn't recommend getting these. If you see them, I would say do a pass on them. They don't balance out too well. I'm probably gonna burn these tires up, or maybe move them to another set of rear wheels and just maybe just tear them up and get a different set. But aside from that, just there's a good wheel to make. Like now I have a complete set, and I like them. They're classic all time like style for all the old school Kyushu cars. You can't go wrong with them. Other things that have been going on with this. It's been driving good for the most part. I did have a couple of hiccups here and there. One time I went to go get gas, and the car actually was about to die out. I was about 2 blocks away from a gas station, and I was able to pull it off the side. But unfortunately, I didn't have my gas can, so I had to call for like a service, and they came and brought me gas and put in gas because my fuel level gauge is off, and I thought I had enough to make it, but I guess it was that much off that it was going to conk out. I'm still not fully sure, but put gas in, and the car ran rough, and I couldn't figure out why. So I've always had a vacuum leak in the intake manifold, and I just got to the point where I said, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna kind of like fix that issue. Ended up pulling the intake manifold off, and it had RTV as original because it was like that from when the motor was built. So I ended up scraping off all the RTV and putting in an actual Felpro intake manifold gasket. And while that was at it, I painted the header with some high temp paint and put new studs, and that all helped. It made the car run better. I don't have as much of a stumble issue. And after talking with Dave Rebello, he was like, "Oh, you might have sucked up some crap in your gas tank. You might want to clean out your jets." So I ended up putting a new fill filter, cleaned out the jets, and for sure the pilot jets, and the car ran okay. I still needed to fine tune it, but actually doing all this, I ended up learning a lot more about carbs and getting better at synchronizing them. And I got it to run pretty good. I was driving for a while, and things were okay. Then I decided to get on it one time, and got it hard. I think I was doing like I was going out hard, and all of a sudden the car kind of shook, and then it was okay. So I kind of didn't really know what was going on, but luckily I was worried, so I got it home. Right when I pulled in the garage, and I shut the car off, and I turned it back on again. It ran for a while, and all of a sudden it died out. Nothing would turn back on. So I was like, oh shoot. Then I saw a little bit of smoke, and I noticed the fusible link burned out. So I was like, okay, that's a good sign if something's going on here. So uh, took took it off, and then I was gonna put a new fusible link. Luckily, I had spares, and it started to smoke again. So I killed it really fast. Took the battery terminal off, and then I was thinking like, oh shoot, did I burn the alternator up? And then I was talking to my brother at the same time. He's like, yeah, I think your alternator, yeah, you have a short inside. So I was gonna have like a local spot rebuilt the alternator, but they were too expensive and some places were too far away. So I just went down to the O'Reilly's and I got one for like $75. Kept my old core just in case I want to rebuild that one, but I ended up luckily have my final fusible link and got the car running. Things are good. Only issue was I had to get a longer alternator belt because there's a slight difference with this alternator just by the body height. So I had to just get a slightly longer belt, but after that it was all good. Car's running fine. But I was talking to Riley at Lynchburg Nissan, and he was about to make me fusible links. But I was talking to my brother at the same time too. He's like, "Oh, forget the fusible link. I can make you get a MIDI fuse. It's a little bit more up to date, more modern." He goes, he sent me a link to Amazon. He goes, "You get this. I'll wire it up and go from there." So ordered it. It was cheap. I think it was like maybe like $10. And came with extra spare fuses, and we wired it in, and it's been good. So I keep a fuse in my glove box. But if you ever need a fusible link, contact Riley at Lynchburg Nissan. He's a really good guy. He could probably make them again, and I don't think his prices were too high. So if you ever need it, if you're trying to stay very period correct, that might be the way to go. But later on, the car, I was driving, and I've been it was things were good, but I always suspected I might have had like maybe some corrosion in a fuel tank. So I've been waiting for that day to try to get to that point where I could probably pull the tank and maybe get rid of the corrosion and recoat the tank and just flush out the fuel system. So this most recent time, the car was running kind of funny, but I kept noticing that plug number 4 always kept getting fouled. So we're back to that issue of cleaning out the jets. So that's been kind of my routine. I would do that, but I think this time I got it pretty good in that I would just adjust the idle mixture just for that one cylinder, and luckily the Mikunis I could do that. And I've been going by just reading the plugs because I don't have an air fuel meter, and right now I have it pretty good. This car's been driving really good. I also suspect too that sometimes even the type of fuel I'm using, it makes the difference, because maybe those couple of times I got fuel from a gas station where the quality of gas isn't that great. So now I've been predominantly just using Shell or like Chevron, and Costco gas has been working okay. And right now the car's been driving fine. So I'm kind of like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just keep an eye on it. And I've been having fun with it. I went for a drive today, and actually it was really good. Drove down to South Bay, at least 30 miles out and 30 miles back, and it drove really good, like smooth, like a top. So definitely enjoying it. It was a lot of fun. Took some turns and went on to like some windy roads, and really, for a wagon, it's pretty good. It's not like a sedan or coupe. This thing's kind of got almost like a truck suspension, but it does pretty well for what it is, and for the parts I have on it, it's doing real well. I have a lot of fun with this car. So hopefully a lot of you out there, there are old cars, maybe the stuff that you hear from me and other owners, if you ever built one up, things to address are corrosion, or to make it more reliable, and just they're fun cars. They should be economical. I mean, I know lately a lot of stuff has been really expensive. So yeah, if you can kind of go by the Datsun way, or like the 510 Realm, those guys are real helpful, and those are low budget ways to keep your cars running good. A lot of information out there. you know, I've contributed and a lot of people contributed to me to kind of keep these cars going. So, you know, hopefully all you guys out there in 510 world, or actually any adult vintage cars, you guys enjoy them and appreciate them and actually drive them and, you know, take care of them and, you know, just, you know, just enjoy them, you know, just, you know, go out for those drives, you know, or like, do those mods that you've been wanting to do that, you know, make you feel good. So have fun, you guys. Till next year.